You close your eyes every night, and you disappear. It's not a metaphor. It's what actually happens. For 8 hours of your life, you abandon all notion of who you are. Every identification with the external world dissolves, and yet something continues. Something you cannot see, cannot control, cannot even fully remember when you wake up. And the most uncomfortable question, the one your rational mind constantly tries to avoid, is this: where are you when you sleep? I'm not talking about your body lying in a bed, defenseless and vulnerable. I'm talking about you, your consciousness, that voice that right now is reading these words. Where does it go? Does it stop? Does it fragment? Does it expand into dimensions that your waking brain cannot even remotely comprehend? Here is the truth scientists don't want to tell you completely. Your consciousness does not turn off when you sleep. No, sir. It transforms into something that defies all rational categorization. Think about it for a moment. During the day, your consciousness is trapped in a prison of identifications. You believe you are your name. You believe you are your profession. You believe you are the limits of your skin. You have an illusion of control, of continuity, of being a singular and coherent entity. But when night falls, when your body succumbs to rest, all that architecture of certainty collapses. And in that collapse, something far more real emerges. Something science is only beginning to brush against with its primitive instruments. Something ancient civilizations understood perfectly, but that modernity has chosen to forget out of convenience. Scientists will tell you that during REM sleep, your brain is as active as when you are awake. You lie if you deny it to yourself. They are correct. But they will give you graphs, brainwave measurements, neurochemical explanations about the release of neurotransmitters. They will talk to you about serotonin, dopamine, acetylcholine. And all of that is true, yes. But it's like explaining the Mona Lisa through a chemical analysis of its pigments. Technically precise, absolutely useless for understanding what is really happening. Because here is what no one tells you. While your body rests, your mind abandons linear time. It frees itself from the chains of causality. During those moments, your consciousness is in a completely different state, and radically unlike anything you experience while awake. In that state, the laws of logic do not apply. Impossibilities happen. You are simultaneously multiple people. You are in multiple places. You live experiences that last hours but are compressed into minutes. Time twists, space deforms, and your consciousness, that thing you think you are during the day, simply disappears, replaced by something deeper, something older, something that has no name in your language. Carl Jung knew this. He spent decades studying dreams, exploring their symbols, tracing patterns that repeated themselves in the human psyche across cultures, across eras, across civilizations separated by centuries. And he reached a conclusion that modern psychology tries to unlearn. Dreams are not neurological waste. They are not mental garbage being processed. And dreams are messages. Communications from the depths of your being to the part of you that is conscious enough to listen. The unconscious is not a repository of traumas and repressed desires, as Freud wanted you to believe. It is a portal, a doorway to dimensions of your own mind that your waking consciousness is too limited to access. And here comes the part that will make you uncomfortable. While you sleep, you are not in a single place. Your consciousness disperses. It fragments into patterns, into symbols, into narratives. Some parts of you return to traumas you believe you have forgotten. Other parts explore alternative versions of yourself. And others, the most mysterious ones, seem to connect with something that transcends your individual mind, something collective, something universal. Did you know that people who have never met, who live on different continents, who speak different languages, frequently share identical symbols in their dreams? A cross, a tree, a dark figure, infinite water. Science tries to explain this through the hard wiring of the human brain, through evolution. But what if it were something more? What if, during sleep, your individual mind touched something that exists beyond the confines of your skull? What if you connected, without knowing it, to a shared dimension of human consciousness? During the day, your ego keeps the doors closed. Your waking consciousness is an implacable guard, ensuring that only approved thoughts enter your field of awareness. But during sleep, that guard retreats, it falls asleep, and when it leaves, the doors swing wide open, and through them flows everything you have been repressing, denying, blocking. But something else flows too, something that doesn't come from within you, but from outside, from places your waking mind cannot even imagine. Modern neuroscience has discovered something fascinating about REM sleep, the phase where most of your dreams occur. During this phase, your prefrontal cortex, the region responsible for logic and critical thinking, shuts down almost completely. Meanwhile, your emotional systems fire at levels never seen during wakefulness. Your eyes move frenetically beneath closed eyelids, as if you were intensely observing something. Your body is practically paralyzed, but your mind is in a state of hallucinatory activity. And here is the important part. During REM sleep, your brain does not produce the chemicals that make you aware that you are dreaming. You are completely immersed in an alternative reality that your mind constructs, moment by moment, and although it is entirely false, your consciousness experiences it as absolutely real. Think about it. For hours every night, you live in a world that does not exist. You interact with people who do not exist. You experience emotions based on events that never happened. And while you do it, your consciousness fully believes it is real. What does that say about your notion of reality during the day? How sure are you that what you now experience as reality is not also a dream? The ancients already knew this. Buddhists built it into their entire philosophy. The dream within the dream. Reality within illusion. The world as Maya, as a veil woven by the mind. And while you sleep, that veil is particularly thin. But here is where conventional science becomes uncomfortable, where neuroscientists scratch their heads and publish careful papers that say nothing. There are multiple studies documenting shared experiences during sleep. People who report having been together in dreams, sharing specific details they could not possibly have known through normal communication. Couples who dreamed the same scene with the same inexplicable details, waking up to discover their dream experiences were identical. Parents and children separated by distance reporting dream encounters in specific places. Orthodox science tries to dismiss these as coincidences, as memory confabulation, as suggestion. But how many coincidences do you need before you start questioning whether it is really a coincidence? During sleep, your consciousness exists in a state that quantum physics is only beginning to suggest might be possible. A state where the separation between observer and observed dissolves. A state where your individual mind could, theoretically, become entangled with other minds, where the boundaries between inside and outside become porous, where what we believe to be solid reality is revealed as a pattern of probabilities. Quantum physicists talk about entanglement, about spooky action at a distance, about how observation alters reality. And what if sleep were where your consciousness truly operates at this level? What if it were where you could experience what quantum physics can only describe mathematically? Here is what keeps you awake at night, even if you don't know it. Your consciousness is not local. It is not confined to your brain. Your brain acts more like a receiver than a generator, like a radio tuning into different frequencies of consciousness. During the day, when you are awake, you tune into a specific frequency, the one corresponding to your individual identity, your ego, your experience of yourself as a separate entity in a world of separate entities. But during sleep, when that receiver enters an altered resting state, it begins to pick up other frequencies, collective frequencies, archetypal frequencies, frequencies that Jungian psychology recognizes as the collective unconscious, that shared dimension of the human psyche, where archetypes, universal symbols, primordial figures that appear in the myths of all cultures reside. Do you think it is a coincidence that the hero, the trickster, the sage, yet the shadow appear in the stories of civilizations that never had contact? Do you think it is accidental that the Great Flood appears in almost all ancient cultures? That the figure of the redeeming God appears independently in multiple religions? No, these are not coincidences. They are resonances, echoes of a deeper reality that your mind accesses every night when you sleep, when your individual consciousness retreats and allows collective consciousness to emerge. Jung spent his entire career mapping this territory, analyzing dream symbols, tracing archetypes, discovering that there is a deep structure in the human psyche that transcends culture, genetics, geography. A structure that exists more clearly in dreams than anywhere else. Because in dreams, the veil between the individual and the collective is transparent. Your conscious mind is not there insisting that you are unique, that you are separate, that you are different from all other humans. In dreams, you are part of something much larger. And here is the uncomfortable truth modern psychologists want to avoid. Your unconscious knows things your consciousness does not. It has access to information it could not possess through normal means. Multiple studies have documented this. People report dreaming of events that occurred while they slept. Events happening kilometers away, events they could not have known through any normal sensory channel. They woke up with a deep feeling that something had happened, an urgency, a sense that someone needed help, only to discover that at that exact moment, a loved one had been in danger, had been calling out mentally, asking for help at the deepest level of their being. How do we explain this? Skeptics furiously deny that this happens. They offer explanations in 1,000 ways. But those who have experienced it know the truth. And that truth is that during sleep, your consciousness is less localized, less bound to the physical body, more permeable to influences from the world around you. You are more connected than you will ever be during the day. Your mind is operating at frequencies that facilitate extrasensory perception, telepathy, precognition, things science rejects because they do not fit its mechanistic model of reality. But reality does not conform to scientific models. Science adapts to reality. And reality during sleep is far stranger and far more interesting than orthodox science is willing to admit. Think about what happens physiologically when you enter deep sleep. Your blood pressure drops. Your body temperature falls. Your metabolic rate is drastically reduced. Essentially, your body enters a state of hibernation, but your brain, specifically during REM sleep, remains hyperactive. It consumes as much energy as when you are fully alert. But for what? Why would your body allow a state in which your conscious awareness is completely disconnected, unable to control the body, unable to respond adequately to external threats, while your brain burns precious energy on hallucinations? From an evolutionary perspective, this is completely inefficient. From an evolutionary perspective, you should be less asleep, more vigilant, more capable of responding to threats during the night. But here is what evolution actually favored: deep sleep, the complete abandonment of wakefulness, the total withdrawal of consciousness from the physical world. What if it were because your consciousness needs to disconnect from the physical world in order to connect with something else? What if sleep were essentially a journey to dimensions of reality that exist simultaneously with physical reality, but are completely invisible to the waking mind? During sleep, you leave behind your sensory limitations. You do not need eyes to see. You do not need ears to hear. You simply know, directly, without intermediaries, without translation. And what you know is often not logical, not rational, not bound by the rules of causality. But it is more real than anything you experience while awake. Students of the occult, those modern science completely rejects, have been saying this for centuries. Into the astral body, astral travel, the dream body. The ancient Egyptians understood this perfectly. They believed that during sleep your consciousness left the physical body and traveled to other realms. Modern science would call this hallucination. But what if it were the opposite? What if the hallucinatory state of dreaming were closer to reality than your everyday physical perception could ever be? What if you actually traveled? What if for 8 hours every night your consciousness were in places your physical body cannot reach? What if you met beings that exist in dimensions your waking mind cannot even conceive? And here is the question no one dares to ask. What if what you do during sleep is more important than what you do during the day? What if the true work of your soul, your spirit, and your deepest consciousness happens while you sleep? What if the work you do in the physical world is secondary, a superficial expression of the real work being done on other planes of reality during sleep? This would explain so much. It would explain why great artists, great scientists, great thinkers frequently report that their best ideas came from dreams. Newton, Darwin, Kekulé, who saw the structure of benzene in a dream, Mendeleev, who dreamed the periodic table, ancient sages who accessed deep spiritual truths through meditation and conscious dreaming. Sleep is where the mind accesses information that is not available in the physical world. It is where your consciousness connects with dimensions of reality, where all solutions exist simultaneously, where all information is available in a non-localized form. But here is what should really frighten you. You have no control over what happens in those realms. Your waking consciousness, with its ego, its will, its sense of individual identity, simply disappears completely. And in its place emerges something older, something that has not been domesticated by society, something that does not obey your conscious rules, your shadow, as Jung called it, the part of you that you repressed, the part of you that contains everything you said you were not. And when you sleep, that part takes control, and it does what it wants, goes where it wants, experiences what it wants, without inhibition, without restriction, without the censorship of your waking consciousness. Do you remember the last nightmare you had? Do you remember that absolute terror, that primitive fear with no logical basis? That was real. It was not an illusion. That was your consciousness touching a level of reality where fear exists in pure form, where terror is a tangible force, where the shadow of human existence is visible, and you experienced it completely alone, without defense, with no way to escape, simply trapped in a reality your mind could not control, in a drama your consciousness did not write but was forced to live. And then you woke up. And quickly you tried to forget. You tried to re-establish normal, rational reality, where you have control and predictability. But that dream, that nightmare, that journey into the depths of your being really happened. It occurred in a dimension of reality as real as this one, only more fundamental, more prototypical, closer to the truth of what you are. Because here is what modern spirituality tries to teach you. You are not your body. You are not even your conscious mind. Your body is a vehicle. Your conscious mind is a very limited instrument that evolved to navigate the physical world and little else. But your true consciousness, your real identity, exists on a completely different level. A level that is fully perceptible during sleep. A level where the boundaries between inside and outside dissolve. Where you are fundamentally connected to everything else. Where the separation you experience during the day is revealed as an illusion produced by your physical brain. And that is what really happens when you sleep. Your true consciousness, freed from the prison of the body and the brain, experiences its real nature. It experiences connection. It experiences unity. It experiences realities that are simultaneously more complex and simpler than the physical world you inhabit during the day. It experiences non-linear time. It experiences non-Euclidean space. It experiences states of consciousness that have no analog in wakefulness. Orthodox science will try to explain all of this as brain epiphenomena, as incidental results of neural processing. But that is because orthodox science is fundamentally limited. It operates within a framework that can only measure what is physically measurable. And consciousness, true consciousness, transcends the physically measurable. It exists in a territory science simply does not have the tools to explore, so it rejects that territory, declares it irrational, dismisses it as hallucination. But that is like a blind person declaring that color does not exist because they cannot see it. Those who truly understand, who have devoted their lives to exploring consciousness, who have developed the ability to remain aware during sleep, who have learned to navigate those inner realms with intention, know the truth. They know there are more realities than the one you perceive when you are awake. They know that during sleep, your consciousness is more real, not less, more awake, not asleep. They know that dreams are not illusions, but windows into realities that are more basic, more foundational than the physical reality you believe is the only reality. And here is what is truly revolutionary. If your true consciousness exists in those realms, if that is really where your deepest identity resides, then who is in this body during the day? Who is living your conscious life? Just a projection, a reflection, a shadow. Your true identity is somewhere else entirely. It is living simultaneous lives in multiple dimensions. It is having experiences in realms that transcend imagination. It is connected to consciousnesses that have no physical form. While you here, in your physical body, believe you are a separate individual living your small, insignificant life. The irony is absolute. The cruelty is perfect. During the day, you live believing you are the most important reality. Your waking life, your conscious self, seems like the truest thing, the most important thing, the thing that matters. But in truth, it is only a mirror of your real existence. It is as if you were a character in a movie, completely convinced that the movie is reality, unaware that there is an entire cinema, projectors, directors, producers, an entire world outside the frame of the film. And that parallel world, the one that exists while the body sleeps, is where the real drama unfolds. It is where your true consciousness is living experiences that are incomparably deeper, more meaningful, more real than anything that happens in your waking life. So the next time you sleep, before you close your eyes, consider this. You are not resting. You are not simply shutting off for 8 hours. You are entering a completely different state of consciousness. You are leaving this reality and entering others. You are meeting entities, versions of yourself, aspects of reality that your waking mind simply cannot process. And you are doing all of this every night. On every night you abandon the physical world. Every night your body is left behind like an empty cocoon while your consciousness flies to places that have no name. And the most disturbing part is that you probably remember none of it when you wake up.